Welcome to my channel, Ending War. This is episode number 4, and it's really boring. It's called Taxonomy. Anyway, what we're trying to do today is we're trying to establish where we came from and who we are and why we do what we do. Anyways, there are these people on the planet called taxonomists, and they have been with us for probably thousands of years, but they didn't become really apparent for the last 200 or 300 years. But it was long before Darwin ever thought about evolution. And what they were doing, mainly they were botanists, and they basically classified all of those different kinds of flowers and plants and stuff. So it was really interesting. And so if you look at this diagram that I've created here, I couldn't find one online that represented what I wanted, so I had to draw it. So I hope it's not too crude. Anyway, so basically what this represents is, this is actually a sphere, and there is this line that goes all the way around. And what you're seeing is a circle, but it's really a sphere. And the middle of the sphere is the beginning of life, and then there was this primordial goo in here for 600 million years, and that's where all the coal and gas and oil, apparently, according to the astrophysicists. If you want to know more about that, you should listen to some astrophysicists, because there's just no end of stuff about this. Anyway, you have this 1 billion years in here from the beginning of life to the present. And believe it or not, all of this stuff in here doesn't exist anymore. Most of it's gone extinct, in that the species that were down here would never be able to breed with the species that are out here, even if they're the same lineage. So we have this edge here, and Darwin said that every species has a survival strategy. And this survival strategy is all about self-interest. That's all it cares about, and that is survival. And so you'll notice that these taxonomists have all these names like domain and kingdom and phylum and class and order and family, and then genus, and then species. Now, species is the thing, because each species is completely alone on this edge here. I mean, this is where the species live, and it's like millions of little leaves. There are apparently, these taxonomists have classified about 1.8 million species. And so each one of these tiny little leaves is sticking out on the edge of this what do you call it, event horizon. And so we have to know that we are completely alone here. So we're just going to go out of here, and we're going to move over to this diagram. And now this diagram represents the very edge, and it's sort of magnified, where the Homo sapiens kind of exist on this great scheme, and we're part of the animal kingdom. So just to give you an understanding of what I'm trying to get across here is that if you look at any kind of organism, for example, the family cat, you will find that this family cat belongs to the genus Felis. And then this is our cat, a family cat, Catus, and it's the house cat. And there's millions of breeds of it, but one species. And then you'll notice there's a bunch of close genus relatives here. These are all close genus relatives. And the same thing with the dog. You know, we have Canis is the genus name, and then we have Familiaris, which is the house dog. But you'll notice that there's a huge, or not a huge number, but a number of close genus relatives. But then when we talk about human beings or Homo sapiens, we see that there's actually only one species at the end of this particular lineage. And the genus of Homo, there's basically only one at this time in history. But apparently 40,000 years ago, we had Neanderthalis, and we had something called Denisonian, and of course there are many other ones that have been sort of identified recently that basically were our close genus relatives. And so it's kind of unusual. Matter of fact, it's definitely weird that this happens. Now you can understand that if you have this sort of anomaly, there's going to be all kinds of speculation. And one of the speculations, of course, is that we were parachuted in here from some alien life and from outer space. And there are lots of people that believe this. And the other kind of idea is that that there is actually another dimension. And, for me, this makes a lot of sense because on one side of this dimension, you have life. And on the other side, you have this spirit, this spirituality over here. And we all know that when something is alive, it's animate. It has this substance almost. And when it dies, it's gone. Well, where does it go? And we've been speculating on that forever. And so basically this spirit world over here is one of the challenges that we have. And there are so many beliefs. And because we have a large cranium, the idea is that we can remember things and we can create things. And we create something called imagined realities or social constructs. So we have all of these social constructs and all of these imagined realities, including this one where we're parachuted down from outer space. And people actually believe this. And when you believe something, it becomes real. It's like money or the Coca-Cola company. But if you pull Homo sapiens or human beings out of the equation, you'll notice that, in fact, these particular imagined realities just disappear. They don't exist. And that's sort of the test. If they don't have mankind around, does that mean that they will exist? Do we have God in the spirit world, and do we have aliens that come down from outer space? There's no scientific evidence to support either one of those conjectures. However, when it comes to thinking that Homo sapiens were actually evolved on the planet, there is overwhelming scientific evidence to suggest that that's true, that we were evolved here. There are little things like, would you believe when the human embryo is the size of your little finger or smaller, we actually have gill slots, which basically are, we evolved from fish at one time in history. At least this is what I'm told. Never seen a gill slot myself, but it's one of those things that just basically establishes this scientific reality that we actually were evolved on this planet, and this will be our home. So when we're talking about this survival strategy, we have to recognize that Homo sapiens have a survival strategy, which is unique. It's very unique, and most species do have some kind of a very unique survival strategy. But ours, it comes in like 3 parts. One of them, of course, is the opposing thumb and forefinger. And the other, and so we can make a lot of tools and become really advanced. The other aspect of this is something about language. If you're a software engineer and you're trying to develop voice recognition, you'll realize that you need a huge amount of very fast memory. Well, we have a lot of very fast memory in our cranium. And that is necessary to use this sound as a communication tool. And we can communicate extremely complicated ideas using sound. And when you have all this memory in here, guess what? You actually can remember things. And that's why they call us sapiens, thinkers, right? We think. And when you have this memory, you can remember things like laws, you can remember rules. And so therefore, when you have these rules that are passed on generation to generation that make it better for our survival potential, you have to realize that you need a source of authority to make these particular rules and these laws. And our particular species has always used something called the firstborn male of the ruling chief. is the source of authority. And that's been going on for like 30,000 years or 40,000 years, or for as long as we know of human beings. And it's been the firstborn male of the ruling chief is the source of authority. So this sets up this dynamic. If you're the firstborn male of the ruling chief, you are going to be threatened from inside of your tribe and from outside of your tribe. And when you're threatened from inside, it's very easy to eliminate that threat by simply, if somebody says something you don't want to hear, well, have them killed, and also kill their family. And guess what? When you're dead, you can't reproduce. So we have literally bred our Homo sapiens into this very compliant group that actually seeks out this source of authority, this firstborn male of the ruling chief. And it's in our DNA. I mean, it's 2,000 generations of this kind of tyranny that has created this dynamic. And so we do seek out these people, and we always try to comply with them, because if we don't comply, then we will end. And we have this hierarchy in our society, this hierarchy that basically means that we always look for that leader or that ruler or that person that's going to help us survive. And also what it does is it creates this dynamic of fear in our society, and every one of you knows exactly what I'm talking about. Don't do that, or the man is going to get you. And so you comply because there's some penalties for not complying. And of course, in some societies like Vladimir Putin, he just has anybody who says something he doesn't want to hear, he either puts them in jail or has them pushed off the balcony of a high building. Or Donald Trump, well, what does he do? Oh, he fires them. And if he gets his chance, he's gonna do exactly what Vladimir Putin does, because he really respects that man. Anyway, so here we are in a situation where we have this dynamic, and that is the problem, because not only is this firstborn male of the ruling chief threatened from inside of his tribe, he's also threatened from outside of his tribe. And there's this other element, hubris and avarice. Self-love and the need for more wealth. And so basically what these firstborn males of the ruling chief do with this incredible power they have is they send intrusive forces across their borders into foreign lands, and they conquer them because they want more land and more power. And that is this dynamic. So that's what I was trying to get across with this idea of taxonomy, who we are and how we live. Now you have to remember that probably more than 90% of us don't have that. And the other thing that's really important, even though you've probably been indoctrinated with the idea that everybody around you, all these human beings, are stupid, and the only ones that are clever are these amazing, aristocrats or technocrats or plutocrats, these people that are so successful in our society, they're the only ones that can think. Well, it's not true. Everybody can think, and everybody has a gift. That's why the Latin name Homo sapien. Sapien means to think, and we can think. And that group is the one that's going to end war. This group that's 90% of the population that does not form this dynamic, but lives under the shadow of this dynamic of oppression from this higher authority. And so what we're going to do is, this is the end of this particular episode. Thank you very much for watching. Hope it wasn't too boring. And we're going to go on to the next episode, if you're going to join me for that, hopefully. And it's going to be talking about the intersection of history, where the dynamic was actually ended. It ended for a little bit here and there in our history. And we're going to examine those incidents and just see exactly how wonderful life can be if we don't use this idea of the firstborn male of the ruling chief, or the symbol of the firstborn male of the ruling chief, if we can find a better way of making really super good laws without that particular dynamic. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully you'll join me in the next episode. Bye now.